obviously if you're a grazier and you've got a lot of this sort of claypan type soil, bare patches on your land, you're very interested in how to get it to become productive again and grow a field of grass or herbage or whatever to for your livestock to take advantage of and turn that into good meat and good food. There's probably several ways that you'd attempt to do something like this. You might get a laser level out and contour theodolite, and you might contour banks. You might put you might deep rip it, you might blade plough it, you might cut about, you might try many different things. You might try growing salt bush or something on it. But oftentimes nature is already telling us how to do it. So it's well worth our effort before we decide, if we were to decide, say, to make this productive again or attempt to, it's well worth our time to come to a spot like this and check whether we can do it first an easier way. And a lot of times nature will tell us how to do that if we're observant. Right here is a patch of it that's very productive. You can see the soil in the background stuff, but here it's beautiful. And so why is it so good here? Well, when we walk in it, it probably doesn't show up on the camera that well, but what it is a series of little melon holes and depressions, very shallow depressions where water collects and pools and lays and soaks in. And over the years it's built better and better, and now it grows very productive feed. Could we mimic that out here and get the same result? Well, if we were to try, what I'd do is I'd bring my tractor down here and I'd angle my end loader bucket at about 45 degrees and I'd dig it in about 3 to 4 inches deep, about as deep as whatever the productive stuff that nature's already doing, which in there it's about 3 inches to 4 inches to 5 to 6 inches even deeper than out here. And I'd just dig down 3 to say 6 inches deep, and I'd drive forward and lift the bucket up at the same time, angled at about 45 degrees, and scatter that dirt in the bucket about 3 to 4 inches deep. Don't leave it in a big pile like a bank or anything. Scatter it and it makes a good seed bed. And if you were to seed that and then leave it, so you might do only a little acre, like a half an acre patch first, and see if it worked. And if that little, you do a little half an acre, and if that little half an acre next season is starting to resemble that, well then you know you're on a winner, and away you go. You just figure out, if you've got a lot of land to do, you'd probably figure out a appropriate machinery to do it with or whatever. Or you might just poke along and do little bits at a time. But the idea is just to ask nature first how to fix the problem, and if we're observant enough, there's the solution. We just got to get that happening out here. Now just about 50 yards to my right, there is a spot where humans have inadvertently mimicked that, and by putting a roadside drain in at about the same depth as that, and we'll see how productive that is on this soil. I'll just pause this video. So I've just walked over here, and you can see off the bitumen they put a little roadside drain here years ago, and inadvertently all they've done is mimicked what was over there at that other spot and made a little shallow depression about the same depth. It's a little bit deeper here in patches, and when we get deeper we get a little bit of bare soil. But basically they just put a drain, and probably over the years it's silted up a little bit, but it's now a shallow depression about the same depth. And you can see it goes right down that way, and wherever they put that drain, they've inadvertently made it into a little melon hole depression area, and it's quite productive. It's mimicking what we saw nature doing back over there. So it does tell us that this soil will respond to this type of thing. It'll respond. There's the spot there. And and there's another section of the drain there. So out there should respond like that if you were to do it all over it. Not that you'd probably cut a drain. I wouldn't recommend cutting drains, because if you get it wrong, you'll create erosion. But the idea is melon holing, just depressions in the soil, and it tells us that this will become productive if you were to do it out there. And so I would have a go, and like I say, I'd only try it at a little half an acre patch first, an acre to an acre and a half, something like that, and just see it, observe it for a season, and just see if this soil would respond to it. Because you wouldn't want to spend a heap of money doing it and then find out it didn't work. Maybe there's an element to the soil that would prevent it from working. But that patch of greenery there is also another man-made depression, and it's working as well. So maybe if you just mimic that all over this clay pan, you wouldn't have a clay pan here.